time for the Klodowski Real Estate Show. And without further ado, here is Justin the Ninja Wilski and Chris Klodowski.
It's not just Chris Klodowski. We've also got Abby Klodowski down here. Of course, we want to remind everybody this is a paid program. Advice and opinions expressed on the program are solely that of Klodowski Real Estate, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands. Ladies, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Great seeing you guys again. It's been
Same
a little
here,
while
same
since we've
here.
sat down together.
Very happy to walk in and see your face behind the mic.
Aw, that's so nice. It's very rare I hear people say they're happy to see my face.
Stop it.
There's so much I want to jump into, but first, of course, I want to remind everybody that if you do have a question about real estate or something you want answered, we want you to call in.
We
want
love
you to join the show and be a part of it. There's some numbers you can call. You can call us at 920-885-4446. That's 920-885-4446. You can also text us, 920-887-9595. And we do have Jeff up in the studio there, and Jeff's more than happy. There he is. Hey, Jeff, to send those texts down our way and those calls down our way so that we can get them answered.
I love that little blip of Jeff
Isn't that
up
great?
in the corner.
It's nice to be able to interact with my producers that way, and Jeff's so great. I love Jeff.
Jeff's awesome.
So, of course, very happy to have you guys back on the show. And it's a great show having you guys on because it's a great way to kind of reconnect, because real estate's one of those things where eventually you're going to probably end up dealing with it, and there's so little we know about the process. It's not something we're necessarily taught in school unless you're in the industry or know somebody in the industry.
Yeah.
It can be scary. It can be daunting.
And even the change in, if you did something 7 years ago, laws and rules and things that now in place, yes.
Right, because most people aren't buying a house every year. Like, they might buy a car every other year or something like that.
It's tough enough, yeah, when you get a car every, 4, 8,
right,
15, depends how many years. You forget some of the things. Right. So especially, in real estate, why most people go to a professional, because there's a lot to know, and the average Joe that's not in real estate doesn't know it.
So for anybody who hasn't been tuned into the show or hasn't heard your guys' bits and cameos and stuff on the morning show, why real estate? Why Dodge County? Why Klodowski Real Estate as a business for you?
Actually, I was going to look up. I feel like we're really around the 4-year anniversary date of Klodowski Real Estate starting. I've been in business for 9 years. Knew at some point we wanted to have our own real estate firm. I grew up in the big city of Juneau. My kids are raised here in Beaver Dam. We love living in and being a part of this community, the activities, the dining out, shopping, giving back. It's just a great community. Love being here. So that's kind of the area we work in. If you called up and said, I have a house, a secondary home up in St. Germain I'd like to sell.
Right.
Will you help me? Well, the way we would help you would be to do our homework and find you a good agent in that area that will serve you, because we're very passionate about knowing your local market.
Right.
Working with anyone, obviously we would love for you to work with Klodowski Real Estate.
Of course.
But any local agent, they've been in the other houses to know, okay, why is this house still on the market when it's this many bedrooms and square feet? Well, because when you walk in there, if you drop the marble on one side of the other house, in 1.2 seconds, it would probably put a hole in the other wall because it slants so bad. We know how to compare what's been sold. We've sold a lot of the properties in the area, so when we're doing a market analysis for someone to determine the value of their property, we intimately know those other houses to compare and say, okay, this is where it sits, this is what we would recommend for a list price. We are located in Beaver Dam, serve the surrounding communities, Horicon, Juneau, Lower Eastville, Kleiman, occasionally Columbus, Randolph, a little bit of Waupun, Horicon, Fox Lake. Again, just the area we know. If it's beyond that, we would refer you to someone else so you have your best representation there. Located here in Beaver Dam, we have a website, KlodowskiRealEstate.com, Klodowski. Oh, yeah, it's on the screen. Yeah. Klodowski, realestate.com. I will say we've shopped around. We can't find a site that doesn't make you register to look around on the site. I can reassure you, besides the automatic generated email that says, hi, reach out if you have questions, we are not going to contact you off of that via email or phone or text unless you message us and say, hey, we'd like to talk, or we'd like a market analysis for our house, or we'd like a showing of a property. And that allows you, we pay to connect directly to the statewide multiple listing service. So you can see in real time houses that are available, under contract, new listings, sold properties, things of that nature.
Right. And that's really kind of an important thing you touched on there with, you may have to register when you get on the site, but it's not adding somebody to a list. You're selling those names, that information.
No.
It's not something where that's now accessible by some major advertising conglomerate where you're going to get emails for every market in the world. It really is very localized.
Yep.
That is awesome. We talked about finding friendly realtors that you guys, can connect with in other areas if somebody is looking to sell in St. Germain or something.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that also means there are times where maybe you guys have to kind of collaborate with other retailers. Like maybe they're selling a house here, but buying a house there.
Yes.
So they might work with you here, work with
Abby
somebody
just
else there.
had one of those in Juneau, yes, where there was an out of the area, yes, to
Are there some
coordinate all those things and be good at
unique
communication.
challenges with that?
There's challenges with almost everything sometimes.
I always tell people that when I go through a offer to purchase that radon is the only cut and dry thing in real estate.
Yeah, true.
I was saying that was one of the things when we did ours. They're like, radon testing is kind of a good idea.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's the only thing that there's one clear solution. There's
One cure and that's it.
a line for it's below 4 or above 4. It's really just easy.
Black and white. The
one page
thing.
you can print out 100 copies of because it's never going to change.
Yes.
But everything else. Let's talk a little bit about real estate. If we can, let's dive back into 2025. How was 2025 as a year? You guys have been doing this for a few years now. Did it feel like a good year? Did it feel like a bad year? Did it feel like an average year?
I don't know how to humbly say.
It was a great year.
It was a great year.
Good.
All three of us
like
had
the
our
sound of
best
that.
year ever. Yes.
Awesome. Which I think is probably an testament as much to the market as it is to what you guys do, obviously. I know from my experience working with you guys in the sense of this show, very friendly, always. I've never been yelled at yet, so I must be doing something either right or you're just not yellers.
And we find ourselves funny. All three of us find ourselves funny. I don't know if other people do, but we find ourselves funny and entertaining.
I'd say you guys are pretty funny. But I think that local appeal has got to be just a huge aspect of things. I know, when my parents bought their house way back in the day when I was a kid, I remember it was just that standard, it was the same yellow sign with the little thing you saw everywhere, and everybody went through them, and it was just, oh, who's our realtor? Oh, it's this business.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I'm working with Abby, I'm working with Chris, I'm working with Adam. It's, I'm working with this major business. And I remember even as a kid, I felt like it was very high pressure, and it wasn't like oh, do you like this house? Do you not like this house? Let me show you 10 more. It was, well, if you don't like this house, it might not be here tomorrow. So you probably want to put an offer right now.
Ooh, yeah.
We don't do that.
We have salespeople licenses, but we are not salespeople by that definition. If it's something that somebody it's a hot ticket house,
Right.
and someone really loves it, but they want to sleep on it, yes, we may say there's this possibility. We'll call the agent and talk to them about it to see if they have any of their offers. In no way are we pressuring you,
Right.
but we just want to make sure. I would say we have never talked anyone into a house. We have talked people out.
I was going to say,
houses.
the other direction.
Yeah.
Right.
The other direction.
Now, that being said, you guys, because you sell and you work in this market and you know this market so well, you guys could very easily say, hey, we've had a couple other houses in this area that have gone very quickly, or this has been a very popular area. That's obviously not high pressure sales. That's just you guys being open and honest and letting
Right.
people
If
know.
someone really loves the house and they want to sleep on it for a night or two, there's the lame phrase about if you sleep on it, you won't sleep in it or something. But the market has changed, and
Right.
it is more apt that you can sleep on it at night. But we do make people aware of that. When we go into a house knowing the local market,
Yeah, there are certain things that make it the house.
you go
that-
inside that this
Right.
is a fabulous, well-priced,
Yeah.
well-maintained home that you want to make them aware there is a possibility that
Right.
this will go very quickly. So, but yeah, never talk them or pressure them into buying a house. And like I said, we've talked people out of buying houses.
Now, there's a lot of different things that can give you that, this is the house kind of feeling. I know for my wife, for her, she just needed a really good space for her crafting. and she wanted a nice big room for that. We found it was perfect. She was happy, and she loves the old world charm and the the big old wood baseboards and all the other fun stuff, which is great. I wanted a kitchen because I love to cook, and I wanted a good price because I had to pay for it all. But I imagine you guys do have to navigate, especially with couples. Her priorities, his priorities, combined priorities. How much of your job is as much being a mediator of needs and communicator between people as it is finding them what they're looking for?
Well, we're talking about that pre-being in any house.
Right.
So we meet with everybody before we show them a house and talk about wants, the house, what would it have in it, but also needs as far as we're not even going to look at it. We're not even going to entertain it if it doesn't have, if you absolutely need to have a 2-car garage, we are not going to look at 1-car garage houses.
Right.
But we talk about all those things up front. So as time goes on, if someone, it's a little less now, I think, but in the 2022 era, when, you'd written 6 offers and people started we could just look at this and we just go back to but you needed 4 bedrooms.
That was a talking him out of things at a time period because people start to get desperate, I'm not going to get a house type of thing. But yes, when they say we need this because we have, there's the couple and we have 6 kids, so we need at least 4 bedrooms, and they want to look at a 3-bedroom house with no potential for a 4th, okay, what you told us has
Billy can sleep in the basement. It's all right.
We try and funnel down what they're looking for in the needs. Yes, to make sure it fits. Sometimes also we'll say in that buyer consultation and when it pops up, if you have time, do a drive-by. But before shoot us a text about scheduling a show, but do a drive-by because sometimes it's the neighbor's too close. Or I had one once up in Waupun. We pulled up and they were it was across from the walls. Oh, yeah, I don't want to live here. Drive-by would have saved, 1, the realtor's time, but 2, the buyer's time, and 3, the seller's time, having to, quick prep the house for a showing and getting out. Just a drive-by can, maybe kick a place out of the running.
Ironically, we looked at a house when we were searching for ours that was across from the walls, and my wife immediately called her father, who has spent some time in, as he put it, forced federal confinement. He also occasionally calls it government sleepaway camp. But we called him and we're like, is it safe? Is this not safe? And he immediately went on some website and was like, well, they've had no breakouts, so it's probably safe. You're probably good.
Oh, thinking about Waupun, people talk about the prisons. I feel like Waupun's probably your safest place because if anybody manages to get out of there, they're getting out of Waupun.
I just heard on one of our shows, I believe it was Community Comment, they were talking about they can't dig out because they immediately hit a stone. There's too much rock. They can't get out of there. Mm-hmm. Cool. So nobody's shoveling their way out. So unless they go over the wall. But anyways, I digress.
Do you know that they count this might be common knowledge, but I didn't know this until this year. They count the prison inmates in your population.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I was always it's so weird that they have one grocery store and they only have 4,000 less people than Beaver Dam, but all of the prison inmates are included in your population.
And of course, they don't hit the bars and go shopping and all that fun stuff.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
Right. Of course. Let's talk a little bit about 2026. 2025 was a good year. 2026, is there anything major you can see on the horizon as far as real estate that might be exciting, scary, that you're worried about, that's new?
Hopefully we're going to hire someone.
Oh, is that a thing?
We're to the point that I
we were to the point 3 years ago that we needed someone in our office.
Does this mean a 4th rotation for the phone?
No.
Absolutely
not. Not another practicing realtor. Maybe they could be licensed because you have to be a licensed agent if someone calls the office to answer questions.
Right.
But at least an office admin, yes.
I'll say, because you guys do have a physical office location, but most of the time you guys are out and about doing showings, looking at properties, doing all that other stuff. You're busy people.
Sometimes I wonder how often people drive past their office because they try and I prefer face to face, honestly.
Same.
So if they're the same type of person, driving by till they can catch one of our vehicles there. The one afternoon, like, I was there for about a half an hour, and I was just trading out some paperwork and getting some things ready. And I had 3 people come and go in that time because my vehicle was yes, there was a vehicle out front, so they came on in. So yes, to get an office admin for that, but also to, I guess, kind of free up our schedules a little bit to do some of our social media stuff for us. Like when we have a house listed, not all agents that are showing the property bring along paperwork for the property that they have access to for measurements or a seller's real estate condition report. So we like to have those printed out in brochure racks in the house so a buyer can always take one of those. Just the office.
Right. The little mundane things that you guys can then focus on more important stuff. And obviously, needing somebody for potentially several years has not held you guys back. You've been doing very, very well. I imagine a lot of that is also continuing education, right? Like, there's got to be new stuff that pops up all the time. You guys got to keep abreast of.
So the Wisconsin Realtors Association does a really great job of weekly emails from legal updates to learning opportunities. But then, yes, every other year we go through continuing education classes for our license. And I think that this is a renewal year.
Yes.
I like getting those out of the way, so I did mine last year already. Right? Yeah, so many learning opportunities to stay on top of things and then experience. Like, I recently learned in all the rural transactions I've done that an LP tank technically has a title to it like a car.
Oh, okay.
And a number inside. Like, I had never heard of that, but wonderful Tina from Walters Gas Service, she gave me an education on that. Like, all the little things, even this many years in, that you learn and add. And we always have an office meeting on Saturday mornings where we share amongst the 3 of us, like, what we've learned and what properties we have coming up, what marketing we're doing, what fun events we're doing. Like, we just wrapped up. We did the 2nd annual 6 weeks of Where's Klodowski Real Estate, and we give away gift cards from a local business to try and promote other local businesses in the area. Yeah.
I don't know how you guys do it. I mean, I know you guys were also in Italy seeing the sites and back here.
Fabulous.
That was great. I guess you guys enjoyed the Statue of David and the Leaning Tower, right?
And Adam's ravioli.
Yep. We appreciate you guys being on board with that. But again, that's part of that community connection that you guys do. You know, you guys have a lot of fun doing what you do, which is awesome because real estate can be very stressful for both the buyer and the seller. There can be a lot of questions.
And sometimes for the realtor, too.
Very true, very true. I've had family who've sold homes where they get very upset with the realtor because, well, they're telling me this is the value, but I know the home's worth so much more than that because they've got that personal love and that affection for the home. And
or they've gone to the Zestimate to find out what it should be. Yes.
Right. Or lately, I've been talking to a number of people where they've gotten their fresh assessment of their tax value, and they go, "Well, apparently, I could sell my home for a lot of money right now." And it's like, well, just because that's the tax value doesn't mean it's the actual value.
I mean, the trouble with that is, yes, you could sell it maybe for that value, but you still need a place to live.
Right.
So you're going to buy another house that also has a good value.
Right. You're gonna find yourself in the same boat you probably
Sounds
were.
good in theory, but
right. How are rates right now? Are they looking okay?
Between 6. What do you have
The rate lock as of yesterday
for a specific lender? Let's clarify
for a
that.
specific lender was 5.65.
Oh my gosh! Locally, your conventional 20 to 30 year between 6.25 and 6.5.
I'm kind of very glad we locked in on ours when we did way back in the day. But still, that's actually better than it has been.
Yes,
right?
it has improved, absolutely.
That's awesome. And of course, these are things where, you know, for people who are listening going, I heard LP tanks and locked in rates and all, I have no idea what all this means. That's why you call. That's why you stop in. That's why you, probably call, stop in a little bit harder, and get a hold of you guys. Reach out via the social media, the website, whatever, because you guys have the answers to those questions. You can explain what those things mean.
Most of the time, yes.
Right.
And we love questions. Like, even if it's as long as it's not, I had some real estate thing and I need an attorney, we don't answer legal questions.
Right.
We're not attorneys. When we are in a transaction representing you, then we have some legal authority in that transaction, but we can't answer legal questions outside of a transaction that way. But yeah, happy to answer questions. I mean, even someone calling up after the hailstorm last year, like, okay, my house is this color, but we want to reside it because we're planning on selling within the year. What what would be your recommendation?
Right.
We're happy to answer any questions.
You're like anything but pea green. Actually, I saw a house recently that just upgraded to that color, and I thought, why? Weird choice, but that's just me. Speaking of houses that are on the market, do you have any you want to talk about, any you want to mention, anything that you're excited about right now?
Are you in a contract and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I shouldn't say that. Slinger Road. I don't know the address off the top of my head. I have a listing on Slinger Road in Randolph
commercial.
that is commercial. It is 2 different buildings, and there's also a concrete pad there. It's a little bit over 5 acres. And the one building has 5 overhead doors. One of the bays is like walled off, so you can heat that one, and then the rest is cold storage. And then the other building is about half office space that's heated, cooled, all that, and then the rest is they use it as like garage and storage and all that. But
Right.
And that's listed at $350,000.
I have one at 206 West Street. It's a 3-bedroom, 1-car garage, mostly fenced-in yard except for the driveway part. Main floor laundry, 1.5 baths, nice big kitchen, dining room, living room. And I want to say we are at 250, on that. I apologize. Have one coming this weekend in Fox Lake. We'll be having an open house. 206 Cherry Street. Updated fully, maybe in the 70s. But like it has newer windows, 2-car garage, 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths. Has a primary bedroom on the main floor with an ensuite to it, dining area, living kitchen. Very nicely maintained home, and that is in the low 200s. And then we'll have one coming up here probably in mid-February. It's in delayed status now, waiting for like the estate sale on that.
Right.
At 102 Benjamin Court in Beaver Dam. Higher end home. There are 6 bedrooms in this house.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 full baths, exposed lower level walkout, sunroom, like it is all the things, yes.
There you go. So that's going to be a popular one.
That one's going to be listed at $615, yes.
Oh, wow.
3-car garage, yes.
Now, you mentioned the one house you said updated, you thought in the 70s. Does that mean shag carpeting or?
Nope. The interior aesthetics have been updated since, but like the wiring was all redone, the plumbing was all redone.
Gotcha.
All of the things in an
So
older
there shouldn't
home,
be any
like,
knob and
yes,
tube
no
as you
knob
have
and
to
tube
code and all
wiring,
that.
correct.
Yeah, I have discovered that in this wonderful part of the state we live in, there's a good mix of newer homes, older homes, stuff built really. My home was built in 1901. Luckily, all the wiring was updated.
That's a big deal. I mean, because to
Yeah.
rewire a house, 25 is the first number. 25,000 is the
Right.
first number that pops in my head if you have knob and tube. But then you also, if it's bigger, if you have to open up plaster walls to, it's a big investment.
And I mean, real estate in and of itself is a big investment. There's always a lot of questions that go into stuff. I know when we had talked before, it was kind of a trendy thing for people to just make their offer more attractive, to not do homeowners inspections and try and waive some of those things. Are we starting to see some of those things come back now where people are feeling more confident? Right. They feel like they have the time to do that?
Yeah, but buyers have a lot more negotiation power. Prices haven't come down a whole lot.
Actually, I did look that up. We, going back to 2015, the median price for a home sale in 2015 it was $155,000. And mind you, this is
Right.
the South Central Wisconsin MLS region. December's not figured into this, but for 2025, it's the median sale price is $327,000.
Wow.
More than double in 10 years. It's but prices, we have not seen prices coming down in any regard.
But you do have less competition. You do have more negotiation power. And also, I think we're like to the point where the people that did that, the people who like in 2021 said, oh, don't want an inspection, like people know them and talk to them. And people aren't necessarily doing that anymore. You have a little more time to look at it. You can write in your inspection. You're a lot more negotiation power on the buyer side.
Right.
More balanced between the buyer and seller than it's been.
And we as realtors will never tell a buyer not to have a home inspection.
Right.
I've seen a couple times where, given all the information, they still chose not to. One that pops into my head was a 21-year-old house, and obviously you can see it's well maintained, but the sellers had just put on a new roof, a new furnace, new air conditioner, new windows, like,
Right.
and he was comfortable doing that. But yeah, as a realtor, we will never say don't have a home inspection. One, because it opens up to a ton of liability, but it's so much that could pop up that's not naked eye notable.
Right.
I mean, you buy a house and you're making your ends meet, and all of a sudden you find out, that the furnace is 42 years old and has a gas leak and they can't fix it. I don't know the price of a furnace, but I'd suspect probably somewhere in the $7,000-$8,000 window.
Right.
That's going to be a big number to come up with and could be detrimental to your home ownership. So we always recommend a home inspection. So you have, yes, things can still happen, but the best information possible, because it's a big purchase to buy a house.
Right, and that's part of that agreement you have with people when it comes to that buyer's agreement that says, "Hey, I'm going to advise you to do all the things that are correct," but it's an advisement.
Yep.
There's certain things that are hard and fast rules when it comes to real estate, but right on. But
It's the only one.
right, but when it comes to like that, if you really feel comfortable, if you're a handyman, you think you know what you're doing, you walk in, you say, "No, I can fix anything that's here. Nothing looks wrong. I want to save myself that money." Great. Or
And we
if
also at that point have them sign a waiver stating we've made them aware of the benefits of a home inspection, and they are electing to not proceed with that.
little CYA action,
Yeah,
as they say.
that is what it is.
I like that. Explain for people who maybe have never looked into the real estate world before, and maybe they're out there right now and they're listening to the show or watching on Daily Dodge TV, and they say, "Okay, yeah, I think now this is the year we're going to start looking into buying." How do they start this
I'm
process?
getting tears in my eyes because I have a lady, I believe she was 69 years old. Her and her husband had inherited a house from her in-laws when they passed, and not in the best condition. And she just closed on and her husband passed a year ago. She just closed on her very first home at the end of the year. Like Abby was in the office when I called to tell her about her accepted offer and just broke down crying. It's important, I think, for people to know that even in this moment, if you wouldn't qualify to be a home buyer, the potential is there. And sometimes it takes maybe talking to a realtor first to find out what lender options you could reach out to that are willing to give you recommendations. Like, okay, your credit score is this, your debt is this, so what we'd like to see in the next 6 months, 12 months, 24 months is this to happen. And then, yes, you'd qualify for this program for a mortgage that someone could be a homeowner. And there's a lot of people that just think, my parents never owned a house, they always rented, or I have this debt or this credit score that it can never happen for me. But a lot of the time it can, and it's some of my favorite transactions.
Right.
And that's not information you have to share with us.
Right.
We
Oh, yeah.
we don't have to know like where you're at financially, what your credit score is, and we don't know that. When we end up writing a contract and talking about what you're good with looking at, we do talk about how much you're putting down and all that, but we don't need to know your full financial situation. A lot of times it helps us to recommend the right lender if we know that like you might be qualifying for a specialized program, or you're going to use FHA or VA or whatever.
Or a lender that's just better at talking someone through, like, instead of saying
First-time home buyers.
like you don't qualify, leaving it at that, but like saying, okay, here's what you could do between now and whatever time to improve that, and we'll revisit it.
I imagine you guys have then built at least somewhat of a relationship with some of the lenders in the area, so that if somebody starts by going to the lender and says, well, I don't even know who to talk to as a realtor, they might say, well, we know we've worked with the Klodowskis before.
Sure.
Yep.
Or vice versa, they come to you and you say, well, now that we kind of know what we got to do you know what you're approved for? Do you know what your budget is? Can we talk that? And they say, I don't have a lender yet. We've got some names. We've got some people. We got some
And then
places.
we always do give them a list. I mean, because just like when you have a buyer has an accepted offer with a home inspection, we give them a list of home inspectors to select from, so they can choose. It's not just us saying, here's your guy,
Right.
here's your lady.
Which is good because, as with anything, and you guys have talked about this before, you want it to be a fit. You want to click. You want to feel like you can, relate to that individual that you're working with, be it your realtor, your lender. I mean, yes, it's a business transaction, but there could be some highs and lows in this process, and having somebody who's along for the ride and not just watching from the sidelines is kind of nice.
That's a nice way to put that, Ninja.
Thank you.
High five.
That's why they have me around. What can I say? And actually, that is a part of what you guys do. You guys do. I mean, you talk about this recent lady you worked with. Being a first-time homeowner at that age, and her being in tears or everything. That's a huge celebration point for people. I mean, that's a big deal. I know for me, when I finally bought the home, I was like, now I feel like I'm finally living up to my parents' standards of what they wanted. You want to buy a house, you want to raise a family, whatever. And I was like, oh, well, the family came first, now the house. But there is that need to feel like I made a good decision.
Yeah.
And you like to celebrate with people.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
And then like our client events, like we love, like one of our commercials currently is like, perhaps you were a client that became a friend, or a friend that became a client. We kind of feel like family-ish with our clients we've had a chance to work with, and like we like to stay in touch with them. Sometimes there's some sadness in a transaction closing because you really loved working with someone and enjoyed their time and company and conversation, and the transaction ends like, oh.
Do you guys find yourself occasionally like dialing people up and being like, so hey, it's been a few months. What do you think?
So I feel like that our client appreciation events allow us the sly way to still connect with them without being stalkerish or creepy, like, hey.
But also sometimes people like will text us, and so we can go see the updates that they did or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure, because I mean, mind you, my wife will yell at me when she hears I mention this, but there are things she wanted to update in our house. Like, I want to change the color of the walls here. Our bedroom walls are painted like a dark purple, and apparently that's good for sleep somewhere in some study. She really wants to change it. We haven't done it yet, and we've been there for 7 years now. Anyways, I'm sure people talk a good game to you sometimes. Be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna completely gut this and do that, or you're completely.
But
whatever.
they think that.
Right.
They do
those
think
people
that,
too.
They think that. If it wasn't for Nick, I would live in exactly the same house I bought.
It's the good intentions. Like, you have these visions and these dreams. You go to meet with someone that's lived in their house for 25 years, and they were just going to stay there for a few years when they started their family, or they were going to do this or do that, and they just never got to it. It's not that their intention isn't there. It's just life happens.
We all think we're going to do those big things.
Once you unpack and everything, you're like, well, it's all there.
Oh my gosh, and the moving.
Yeah. We've moved enough times in our relationship. My wife has now said that the only way she's moving from this house is in a body bag. I was like, well, what if we win the lottery and we, build a nice big house somewhere or whatever? And she's like, cool.
You can live there.
She's like, that's fine. So we've now agreed I'll hire movers, and she'll just hop in a body bag long enough for them to put her in the car, and we'll drive her. That way
Can you do a Facebook Live with that as they're bringing her
Oh,
out?
I'm sure we can. Absolutely.
Don't worry, your neighbors will anyway.
Yeah. Send it to her mom. She'll love it. Let's talk about what's included in the various agreements people can have with you, because they can be a buyer with you, they can be a seller with you, and both those kind of have some unique agreements that you guys enter into as far as the process and helping them with that.
Sure. So we do buyer consultations to talk about buyers' wish list, to kind of funnel out what works, what doesn't work, their area, their price point, blah, blah, blah. If someone just calls up and says, hey, I see you have this listing here, can I take a look at it, and we have not yet met with them, we will show them a property, but there's what we call a pre-agency showing agreement that we have them sign that pretty much just says I showed them the property. There's no commitment in anything, but if, like, say the buyer said, do you think this is priced right? Well, I am just showing you the property. We are in no arrangements for me to be able to share that information with you. So if at some point they wanted to become have a buyer agency, and it can be property specific, like if someone is a little commitment phobic and I just want you to be my agent for looking at this property, well, then looking at this property, we can do that. Or it can be a blanket one. Like if at some point we had a buyer agency with somebody and they said, oh, we want to work with somebody else, we would let them out because we don't want to force anybody to work with us. Not at all. But there's agreements that way. If an agent writes an offer for a customer, someone that is not under a buyer agent agreement, client of the firm, there's a lot of things you're limited in. Like, yes, you can't give them price recommendations. You do still have to disclose, like, if you knew that there was a hole in the roof and a flaming meteor sticking out of it, no matter who you work for, you're legally required to disclose that to a potential buyer because you're aware that there's an adverse fact going on here. You may not know all the details, but it's not right.
Right.
Those types of things. As a listing agent, obviously we represent the seller and the seller's best interest. Same regard, they could tell us, okay, we'll sell this $350,000 house for $300,000. We're not going to disclose that because that's not in the seller's best interest.
Right.
Same regard if meteor came through the roof, they say, well, we patched it with bubble gum, no problems, don't tell anybody. We are required to disclose that.
Some really good bubble gum.
Right? Hubba bubba.
Yeah,
we're required to disclose those type of things. You have to be honest and fair and ethical in all of your transactions, no matter which side you are working with.
I love the fact that you use the word ethical in there because a lot of times when people think about sales in any mindset, be it real estate, be it a car, be it whatever, the first thought is, well, they're just doing what's best for their pocketbook. You know, if they know the house can go for cheaper, they're not going to tell me the house can go for cheaper. If they know that there's a problem that might prevent me from buying it, they're not going to tell me there's a problem because they just want to sell it, get their commission, move on to the next one. I get this weird feeling that doesn't happen at Klodowski Real Estate.
I'm aware that that's out there, but no. In fact, there are times that we pay for, say there is one purple wall in the dining room, and it doesn't.
Right.
We will pay for the painter to come in and just tone that down to match the rest of the house. Because it is in the seller's best interest, it's going to be easier to market. It's going to look better in photography. Or if, the seller doesn't really have a budget for something, but there is a fresh coffee stain in the middle of the living room carpet and it's relatively new, we may be apt to have a carpet cleaner come in and clean that up because, yes, we do get paid, obviously, when a buyer or seller purchases or sells a house, but it's like a bonus to the excitement of the transaction happening.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because obviously one of the thoughts, and I know this was from my own experience too, going into buying a house, me and my wife went, wait, who pays the realtor? How does this, because we have the budget to start shopping, we have the budget to put a down payment down, but we haven't budgeted in however much it's going to cost for us to pay the realtor to help us buy a house. How does that work? And there's a lot of information we didn't know there, a lot of eye-opening for how all that process kind of went down. Can you give a generalized idea of how that works?
So much. Was the lawsuit 4 years ago, 5 years ago? What we have to say is commission is negotiable. Obviously, a firm may say, okay, this is what I'm willing to do, and the person wants something less than that, okay, feel free to reach out to someone else type of thing.
Right.
Then when you list your property, when you have agreed upon commission percentage, you can decide if you're sharing part of that percentage with the side that brings the buyer.
Right.
That's all done in the listing agreement. Then as a buyer, the buyer's agent will find out from the listing agent if the seller is offering a compensation to the side that brings the buyer. You tell me otherwise, but in my experience, I have yet to come across a seller that is not offering compensation to the buy side. And I'm thinking the school of thought being if you have two $300,000 houses, similar, one seller is offering a share of the commission to the buyer's agent and one is not, well, that makes it pretty easy which one you're going to proceed with.
Right.
And then the buyer also, with that lawsuit, however many years ago, the buyer writes into their offer what they ask the seller to pay their realtor's commission. There's so many loop-de-loop, but I don't think I can legally say commonly or generally.
Right. But that's part of that whole negotiation process that has to happen.
I can say this, of all the transactions I had last year with buyers, the seller ended up paying as the buyer agent's commission. That's the best way I'll phrase that. That's
right. Which
not crossing any fair trade or
right. Well, and I know in the case of ours, that was exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things where when we were signing our offer and we were looking at all the details, it was right there in the plain information in front of us, which made things very simple and very easy. And that's why it is important to have a realtor who's going to show you the paperwork, explain the paperwork to you.
to walk through the paperwork.
Right. Because if you just hand it to somebody and say, here, read it yourself, most people are going to look at it and go, this
Yeah.
is a bunch of Latin. I have no idea what this is.
Yeah.
Or when we have the option to send out documents for electronic signatures. There are agents that write up the offer and then just email it over for a signature from their client and submit an offer. Like, that gives me anxiety.
Right.
We at a minimum, like, at least get on the phone with them, even if it's not in person. Like, what I do is email them a copy of the drafted offer. We get on the horn and walk through everything to make sure, one, I have it correct and that they can ask any questions for full clarification, because it is a contract. I mean,
Right.
It is a legal contract, to make sure that everything is being conveyed and clearly communicated, so when they put their signature on there, they know what they're doing, for the most part.
And when it comes to putting those offers in, I know sometimes people might, like, they might look at you and say, okay, Chris, Abby, I really love this house. I really want it. I see they've got it listed for $250. I'd like to get it for $215, but I'm willing to pay as much as $230. So you guys might start at that $215 offer. If they kick it back, you guys kind of like a reserve bidding on eBay kind of thing, where you can kind of bump it up until you get to, and if at that point they still say no, then it's okay, they hit your guys' max.
But that's why you need a buyer's agent that's working. I mean, even when, like, we actually have we each have
right.
the people have the same name, which is funny, but she has a listing that a buyer she was working with wanted to write on. So I'm representing her buyer because her buyer needs her own representation.
Right.
I have a listing a buyer I was working with wanted to look at. She is working with her because I'm representing the seller, and I represent the seller's best interest, and she represents only the buyer's best interest.
Right.
And
It is really important to have a buyer's agent, because yes, legally, a listing agent can write an offer for the buyer as well.
Right.
But either they're remaining neutral in the transaction, or they are still just representing the seller.
Right.
We are very passionate about, we love the black and the white of each party having their own.
Well, it's got to be really difficult to really represent the best interest of either party.
We feel the same.
If you're representing both parties.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Are there ever times where then after a transaction's done or everything that you look at each other and you're like, boy, you really made this tough on me, or you elbow each other at the dinner table?
Yes, there are times that, like in a home inspection, for example, one of us has the listing and one of us has the buyer, and the buyer's negotiating for their best and the seller's negotiating for their best, and like you want to box the person in the office when they're in there with you, but like, no, that's our job. I mean, you represent the best interest of your client, and someone Adam worked for, I remember him saying one time, and he owns a business, no one is happy in a fair deal. And that pops into my head often. Like, because if you're overjoyed, was it maybe fair? So like, I keep that in mind, like in the negotiation of things, if it's fair, then there's probably not one side that's like, woohoo!
Right. There's a little give or take that has to happen on both sides. It makes a lot of sense. That works in negotiation everywhere. A little life lesson for all you people out there listening and watching. I always like to ask my fun little stupid questions at some point in time during the show. And I had somebody ask me, and I figured I'd ask again if there's been an update. If you think or know that your house is haunted, do you have to disclose that?
Nope, that is not on the real estate condition report.
Nope.
If a buyer's agent calls you as the listing agent and says the buyer would like to know if the seller has any reason to think the house is haunted, if asked the question, the seller is to honestly answer it.
Right.
But it is not on our Wisconsin disclosure documents.
So if I'm selling the house, I don't have to be like, yeah, my wife thinks there's a ghost cat. Like nothing like that. Okay, good to know. And then are there any trends you guys see in houses right now that are either coming in or going out of style? Like I remember
Color is coming back.
Okay, like
in warm woods.
Yeah.
I like warm woods because I'm a woodworker. Color scares me a little bit because I remember back in like the early 2000s,
Burgundy.
everybody had to have the red burgundy wall somewhere, an accent wall. And I remember thinking that was the dumbest trend at the time. I'm like, you just walk in, you got this nice, beautiful room, and it's just one bright red wall for no reason. And that threw me.
We had a whole room in our
Yeah.
when it was just the kids' night. We had a whole room downstairs that, yes, I painted a barn red and I loved it.
The thing is, the paint is probably outside of like cleaning up.
Right.
Paint is your cheapest, like most bang for your buck. Granted, yes, covering up that burgundy color takes some effort.
Right.
Yeah, but even if you have it for 6 years and you love it for those 6 years, you can just cover it up.
Yeah, you should paint your house like what gives you what you love. Like if your wife loved the purple bedroom, it should be purple.
Yeah.
If I moved in a house that had a purple bedroom, that'd be the first thing getting knocked off.
Yeah. The reason why our bathroom is now seafoam green, and I don't get it, but
If
whatever.
it brings her joy.
The cooler modern
Right.
is going out where
The grayish and the white.
Right.
yeah, and then I feel like people are leaning towards again some sort of character.
Right.
Less like every wall is flat, everything matches, everything. Oh, that house do you have an accepted offer on that house on Henry Street?
Yes.
Oh.
I love that house. But yeah, in some of those are simple things to do, even like for your home. If you're not selling, you can do these too. But like a board and batten on a wall.
Right.
I mean, like, and maybe, just some wood things you can put on. There's a lot of way to add some depth and character to just your plain old drywall
Right.
walls if there's nothing there to work with.
Yep.
Crown molding it costs some money to buy and cut. and-
Beadboard. People are
Right.
doing beadboard.
Yeah.
I would say I saw.
Or that fluted curve stuff, that's pretty popular right now.
I saw somebody installing completely unnecessarily like the chair rails, and I was like, "It's not even in a room with chairs." I don't understand why you have them. But apparently, it's a thing. So
And the wallpaper, their wallpaper is a little more popular now.
Oh boy, it's great until you have to peel it off.
Agree.
Well,
I just learned something quick.
yeah. What do you got?
That when you're going to wallpaper something, even if it's drywall, you still prime the wall so that when you take the wallpaper off, you don't wreck the drywall.
Oh,
Never thought of that, but I've never had a brand new house where it wasn't already painted.
right. Okay.
Yeah, otherwise you take the drywall with you when you are pulling off the wallpaper when it comes time to change it when it's out of style again. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No. I helped a family friend remove wallpaper that had been applied in like the 40s. And I don't know what glue they used then, but oh my goodness, like we tried like remover stuff, we tried like a steam iron, and it was not good. There was spots we had to patch everywhere, and I'm like, why don't we just paint
I
over
just had
this?
that done in my basement stairwell this past year.
Right.
Yes, I don't know if it was on the drywall, but yes, they did a bunch of sanding, seam patching,
Right.
and just painted it.
Definitely the best route to go. We're hitting the end of the show, so I want to remind people again, the phone number to call if they want to get a hold of you guys. I hope this hasn't changed since the last time you guys were on. 920-219-9212.
And Adam will be your recipient of your call this
Okay,
week.
you knew that question was coming, which is awesome. So give a call, tell Adam we said hi, tell him we missed him on the show. But of course, always great having you guys on. We've got you guys available on Facebook, Klodowski Real Estate on Facebook, right?
Yep, we have a lot of fun things that happen on there, so keep an eye on it.
Absolutely. And then remind everybody again the website.
KlodowskiRealEstate.com.
Perfect, easy enough. And of course, we look forward to having you guys on. I think we got you guys planned a few more times this year to be on with us, which is always awesome. If you have questions or anything you want to ask, please feel free to write them down, make note, call him right away if you want. Ask Adam the question; he'll love to get the call.
Or if you want to talk to Effie or myself, you can ask Adam to pass that along. But yes, Adam will be answering your call this week if you call the office phone.
That's right. He's good at conversation. I promise. He's great. Well, as always, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to come on. Really always love having you guys on the show. You bring a lot of great energy, which is amazing. And can't wait to have you on again.
Thanks, Dinja.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. This has been a paid program. The advice and opinions expressed on the program are solely that of Klodowski Real Estate, not necessarily WBEV or Good Karma Brands.